The ultimate authority for Namibia's airports and Namibia's airspace is the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority. Today we are graced with the presence of the Civil Aviation Authority's Senior Manager for Safety, Promotion and Quality, Mr. George Matroos. Mr. Matroos, thank you so much for making time available to spend with New Era and to ask and to answer a few questions about the operations of the authority.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt, for having me.
It's a pleasure, sir. Let's talk about the NCAA and how it operates. Talk to us about how the NCAA ensures compliance, especially with international safety organizations and standards.
Okay, let me start by introducing the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority. We were established through an Act of Parliament in 2016. And then initially we were the Directorate of Civil Aviation Authority, and then we moved over to the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority. And our main aim is to promote, regulate, and oversight the safety and security of the civil aviation industry within Namibia, and also to make sure that service provisioning is met by our regulator or service provisioning arm, which is the air navigation services provider. There we provide air traffic control services, aeronautical information management, as well as the control and navigation services. And the main aim of the NCAA is to make sure that everybody that flies within Namibia complies with the regulations. Our regulations comprises of the standards and recommended practices that are set by the International Civil Aviation Organization. Taking those standards and recommended practices, we localize them, domesticate them, include our local regulations and laws, and with that we have the Namibia Civil Aviation Regulations and Technical Standards. Out of these standards, we make sure that everybody that flies, be it a pilot, any crew member, whether it's an air hostess or any aircraft that is required to be licensed, certified, an airport, or anybody that is traversing throughout Namibia is regulated by means of these laws and regulations. So ultimately, we are the ones that are making sure that everybody that makes use of the airspace is safe and secure.
Perhaps just a follow-up question on these international regulations and standards. How often are these standards updated, and then how long does it take for Namibian authorities to then upgrade to these updated standards?
Okay, the Air Navigation Council in Montreal, where the International Civil Aviation Organization, which is indeed a UN organization, which Namibia is a signatory to the convention of, is based, use a means of reviewing these regulations on a regular basis, be it because there is a new infrastructure that might have been coming in, new technology that has come in, new requirements, new training standards, and it is one of the most highly regulated industries. So you have to realize that its continuous improvement is what it is. And also we are also looking at incidents and accidents that are happening and seeing how we can make sure that these are prevented in future. So these various committees and Air Navigation Council being one of them, make sure that the regulations or the laws, which are the standards, the annexes, are reviewed on a regular basis by the ICAO.
As you mentioned, this is an ever-evolving industry with evolving technologies, evolving regulations. What exactly is the NCAA's role in improving Namibia's airport infrastructure and air navigation systems?
We have an oversight system which is managed by our inspectors, the auditors. So what they normally do is they have a checklist that has been developed out of these regulations. And with this checklist, they make sure that all the operators are audited to make sure that they are being regulated or make sure that they meet these standards. So we are continuously engaging our industry. We are telling them this is the requirement. We make sure that they get the necessary training, be it us providing the training or be it us giving them areas where they can improve on, and then based on that we also make sure that they are are subjected to these laws. But when ICAO comes up with the standards, there's always a transitioning period where everybody must conform. So it's during this period that we make sure that people are trained, that people get to be acquainted with these laws and regulations, and then once the laws and the regulations are implemented, that's the time that we go and do an oversight function, how it has been implemented by our regulators. And if they are lacking on the implementation part, we assist them in coming to par with that law. And that's how we make sure. And one thing that I can mention is that last year, in March, we were audited by the International Civil Aviation Organization as a state where we got 72.6% of effective implementation, meaning that us in Namibia are way above the average of the world, which is about 65%, if I'm not mistaken, and the African standard, which is about 60% world average. So we are on top of that, meaning that we have reach a standard where we are comfortably, not comfortably, because we still have a room for improvement, but we can measure up with various international civil aviation organizations that are the best at the 70% or the 72.6% that we have reached. So our effective implementation is way above what the average of the world is at this moment.
That is quite impressive, Mr. Matroos. What is the secret to the authority maintaining this high standard of compliance?
I think it's diligence. I think it's due diligence that we are continuously doing, because the introspection within the organization is very much important, and also capacitating our staff. When we do the recruitment, we make sure that we recruit people that has that tenacity to make sure that the improvement that is coming or required from the state is supposed to be met. At the same time, not only the attitude, but making sure that the person is qualified enough and is trained enough so that they can meet the standard and continuously evolve into making sure that we reach those standards that are required and maintained. At the same time, also, it is a matter of having the necessary tools available to the staff, because it does not mean necessarily that they have the capacity but don't have the means to make sure that they apply these tools. So we have the IMPIC system, which is a software that we have just not recently, but we are continuously improving on, where the inspectors can interrogate how the reporting system is done. Because once I've audited you, you would like to know in the shortest possible time what is wrong in my system, so that you can improve also, and what can be done. So we are looking at that, and also working hand in hand with our industry. Those are the main points that we have in our strategy for making sure that we are continuously maintaining and reaching the heights that we have set.
Okay. Excuse me. Namibia being a vast country with a small population, as far as I know, we've got only a few major airports. We're talking about Hosea Kutako International Airport, Walfish Bay, Lüderitz, Ongwediva, Katima. What are some of the ongoing or upcoming aviation infrastructure projects that the NCAA is working on?
Okay, NCAA is basically the catalyst.
Yes.
Because now that we have set the standards, obviously there will be a lot of influx of tourists, because now they have heard Namibia is a safe destination. Business people will be able to want to come into Namibia. So one of the things that we are doing is we are facilitating these processes so that the airports company, the local authorities, and ultimately the government of Namibia put the necessary infrastructure in place so that these standards that we have set meets the demands of the influx and the growing industry that we have promoted by means of setting the standards. So right now we are looking at, from our end, we are looking at the upgrade of the air traffic control system, the radars, and the wide area modulation system. So we are in the process of acquiring new up-to-date versions for that. At the same time, there is an airports company that is is looking at the upgrade of the Hosea Kutako International Airport, also the Walfish Bay International Airport, and the Ludwitz Airport, because of the oil and gas industry that is booming on that side. And various other smaller aerodromes are also looking at upgrades. I believe that Katima is one of the ones that are also looking for an upgrade also. So those are the interventions that the various industries have put in place, and we are also expecting more and more industries to be coming in terms of connectivity when it comes to airlines.
Okay, that sounds like it's good news for the local aviation industry. What do you think are some of the initiatives that are in place, not only by the NCAA, but generally in the industry, to build local capacity in terms of aviation capacity?
Okay, as you might be aware, there has been talks by the Ministry of Works and Transport, which is something that our incoming president has also mentioned, is the fact that we are looking at a new airline that will be coming up in Namibia. Those are the initiatives that are coming in, and also the capacity-based building that is coming with that. We have a lot of pilots from the previous airline, which was working, which was in Namibia, which is the Air Namibia, who are currently not in that position of work. So we are going to bench on those capacity as well. We have air hostesses that are also obviously going to be absorbed by that as well. And also we have some other airlines that have come in place. We have Fly Angola. Yesterday they have introduced a new route between Windhoek and Luanda. So those are the industries that are going to bench on absorbing what we have and also expanding more and creating more of the training aspects. At the same time, the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority is doing a lot in terms of capacitating our staff or our youngsters. We have a bursary scheme that we have been operating. Around 44 of the staff or the Namibians have been trained through this bursary scheme, which is free of charge, obviously. And once you have completed and have passed within the required requirements, then you are absorbed within the NCAA, and I believe that we have absorbed some around 18 of these bursary holders. So this is an annual event that is going on, depending on the finances that we have at our disposal. So we always make sure that we capacitate our industry by means of that. At the same time, we have also started with an internship program with with UNAM, and we have some of the staff. I think 11 of the UNAM students are currently with us, where they are being given the lowdown on what the aviation industry is, and the positive responses that we have received from this industry, from these youngsters, is tremendous. So we are building on these ones. And then we have our flagship conference, which we are hosting annually, which is one of the things that I should be proud of, that the NCAA is doing very well on. And we are bringing in international participation as well as regional participation in these conferences. And we share knowledge. Also, we dissect problems that might have come across, be it nationally, internationally, and then come up with solutions and also present these solutions to the various platforms that are available, be it the AFCAT platform, be it the ICAO platform, so that they can look at it and then see that we have also solutions out of Africa for problems that the world might be facing in terms of aviation.
That sounds quite impressive, Mr. Matroos. The other thing I wanted to touch on was the ever-evolving aspect of technologies. Artificial intelligence is also becoming one of the major factors in terms of the use of technology. So how do these emerging technologies, what role do these emerging technologies play in Namibia's aviation sector?
We have the safety data collection program that we have introduced about 3 years ago. And this is mainly to gauge the amount of incidents and accidents that we have in the industry, and also to look at teething areas where we are going to improve on. And where AI fits into this is they are giving us an idea, a progressive means of how we can project how this is going to turn out in future. And because obviously you cannot wait for an incident or accident to happen. So this is how the AI fits into our data collection. So we are being proactively looking at incidents and accidents so that we can be able to address them within that framework. So that's where AI fits in when it comes to the safety data collection and management system.
Okay. Excuse me. In terms of transport in general, Namibia has ambitions to become a hub for the region. That doesn't only bode for road, but for aviation as well. How can Namibia use its geographical position as an advantage to develop into an aviation hub for the region?
Okay, we have the infrastructure. We can handle a big aircraft. We can handle the various volumes of traffic in terms of aviation. So I believe that we are strategically placed in terms of how we can address these needs and challenges of Namibia. And recently, we were awarded, the NCAA was awarded the best civil aviation authority in Africa by the Aviation Week Africa concept, which was in Zambia, Livingston. So with that said, I believe that we have everything that we need to make sure that Namibia can become a hub when it comes to transportation. And also the fact that we have the oil and gas industry that we are bargaining on, I believe that Namibia is quite good placed in making sure that we have that capacity to advance in that arena.
Now, the Civil Aviation Authority doesn't only regulate airplanes and helicopters, but as of late, drones, which have become quite popular, are also regulated by the authority. How does the authority go about regulating drone operations in the country?
We have drones is one of those challenges that not only Namibia is facing, but obviously it is faced by most of the industry in its own. However, we have invested heavily in terms of the maintenance and management of drone activities in Namibia. We have dedicated staff members that are being identified who are managing the application, processing of drones. We have regulations that we have just recently updated. And we also have agreements with various civil aviation authorities in terms of sharing expertise when it comes to how they are dealing with this drone issue. So we have the airspace committee, which is also being chaired by the Ministry of Defense. So we have all these aspects that we have put in place, making sure that drones are regulated and are managed in a way that they are not going to infringe on anybody's privacy or also cause any nuisance or become aviation risk in terms of flying into our conventional aircraft. So we have airspaces that have been delineated and making sure that they don't penetrate these airspaces. So we have published airspaces, regulations, staff that monitors these activities and the application processes. So we are doing everything that we can within the confines of the standards and recommended practices that we have received from ICAO to make sure that we manage drones.
Okay. Mr. Matroos, I think that does it in terms of questions from my side, but feel free to add anything, any message that you want to add maybe to the Namibian nation for Easter weekend that's coming up in terms of safety. Please feel free, sir.
If you are in doubt, make sure that you pick up the phone and call the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority and to ask, because it's always better to know where you can go, what you can do, and why you do what you need to do before you do what you need to do. That is one of the things that I can say. But all in all, have a pleasant Easter holiday.
That was Mr. George Matroos, the senior manager for safety, promotion and quality at the Namibia Civil Aviation Authority. Thanks again for your time, sir. Much appreciated.
Thank you.